So what is network spinal analysis? That's kind of why everyone's here tonight. You know, what is it? What's going on with my body? And how the heck did it even come about? How can such a light force touch? How can someone just touching me so lightly create such a dramatic change within my body? So what it is, it's an evidence-based approach to wellness and body awareness. You're literally creating new strategies for a new life. There's two unique healing waves that develop. The first one's the respiratory wave. The second one's the somatopsychic wave, which is more of the level 2 class that we're not going to be demonstrating tonight, but we're going to kind of focus on the respiratory wave tonight. Just basically create greater conscious awareness of the relationships between your body, your mind, and your emotional expression kind of your life. So what your body's basically doing at all times is asking itself, am I safe? Am I safe physically, mentally, chemically, basically on an intellectual, emotional, and kind of just a basic survival level. So how does this work? So really what happens with the fight or flight response? Adrenaline's released, blood sugar elevates, blood pressure rises. Basically pretty much everything with that your body needs to basically be able to get itself to move and immediately. And obviously, immunity turns off, digestion turns off, and sexual function turns off. Obviously, none of these are important to you right now if you need to escape from that lion. And this is kind of what's happening within your body, or why it's happening. So, and it's also the main thing that you just really need to know too is this defense physiology. When your body gets locked in that, this stress response is literally the cause of 95% of all the diseases out there. And this is why. It's because when you take a look at all these things that were very positive for your body to escape, that immediate scare, this is what happens when they get stuck on, basically. So adrenaline is released, you have anxiety and depression. Blood sugar elevates, diabetes. Blood pressure rises, hypertension. Pulse increases, cardiac arrhythmias. Muscles tense, fibromyalgia, neck pain, back pain. Pupils dilate, you have far vision. Immunity turns off. All immune diseases. Digestion turns off. Irritable bowel, constipation, indigestion, and then obviously sexual function. You got infertility and impotency. So that covers a pretty broad range of stuff, and it starts to make sense where how if your body gets locked in these patterns, if it gets locked in this stress state, how all of this pain and all of this stuff keeps reciprocating basically kind of within itself. So how can such a light touch make such a significant difference? So how is network differently? Obviously there's the light force touch. When we take a look at the heavy force, with traditional chiropractic, really what the body does is, it kind of perceives as an additional threat, and then what it does, it actually guards itself. You sit there, and I know a lot, kind of the majority of the people in here, they've had traditional chiropractic, and they're sitting there, and it's like, okay, wait, try to relax, and you're just waiting for the thunder to happen, because something's about to come. So then what ends up happening then is your body kind of goes into this protective state, and that information never actually reaches the higher brain centers within the brain. So this is where the light force comes in, is because we need the body to be able to perceive what's going on within it. If you try to put something in there where it's going to protect itself, it's not able to perceive it. So with this light force, what you're able to do is you're able to make a contact, basically. That information, literally, that there's a signal sent up to the brain, and then the brain basically says, hey, here's an area that's safe, here's something that I have going on, either tension, pattern, something's going on, so it can self-perceive what's going on, so it can release that tension out of it and allow the body to heal on its own. So therefore, you're basically teaching the body, saying, hey, this is what's going on, so it can basically self-regulate and figure out what's going on with it. So level 1 of care is really about the respiratory wave. So I talked a little bit about this, but basically the wave temporarily suspends the unconscious automatic behavior. So back to where I was talking about how the fight or flight response shuts off this frontal lobe, shuts off your higher brain centers. What this does, it allows your body to access those so you can make better decisions for yourself. So what effects does network have on the brain? What they did was they put someone in a functional MRI unit, literally had them just move their right ankle, and then they wanted to see how much of their brain lit up, and how much of their brain activity was utilized to do that. Well, then what they did is they took them out, basically adjusted them exactly the way we adjust you here, put them back in the functional MRI unit. It was less than 20 minutes, repeated the readings of what they had, and there was literally a 3,000% change from before to after. So before, literally the whole brain was lit up, and then after there was literally just 2 points. So here was before, so them moving their right ankle, And this was after, so you can see literally just the motor cortex is being lit up. So just the parts of the brain that control you to be able to move your ankle as opposed to everything else that's trying to function. And then when they went the next layer down, it was even more significant. So obviously, you may not know this, but your brain is the organ that consumes the most amount of energy in your body every single day. So if your brain is functioning this much more efficient over here than it is here, think how much more energy you're going to have. So, and that's commonly why people report, I have a lot more energy, I can do a lot more things. And why, people who play sports, it's like, okay, I have such greater control of whatever I'm trying to do, because as opposed to taking this much brain power to move your ankle, it takes this much brain power. So now you have this much of your brain left over to be able to do whatever else it needs to do. So the potentials are, pretty huge.